Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about Valby and if she's worth researching / buying, and for clarity's sake I have bought her. I have spent money on her because what I was going to do with this game is find a main character and then invest some money into it. And even though I've paid for every character and bought every character, this is the only character I'm going to invest in. So is she worth buying? Yeah, she is. She's objectively one of the best characters in the game. She has so much utility and moves and puts out a lot of damage as well that there is no reason to not get her. Whether you research her or buy her, she is probably only second to burst damage in Bunny. Maybe there are some like really top tier builds for other characters, but general gameplay when you're playing every day, Valby is just phenomenal for damage and everything she has. She has good AoE, good crowd control, a little bit of good burst damage like you just seen there. I did 146,000 damage I think when I hit that enemy. She also has knockdown and crowd control. She's just phenomenal in every single way, and this move is one of my favorites, but it's hard to hit, but you can do a lot of damage. Let's have a look at her abilities though. First and foremost, she is non-attribute, so she doesn't have like a water element. She's a non-attribute, and her powers are dimension and fusion. I have built into dimension because this is her main attack, non-attribute and dimension. You're basically just going to leave area of effect damage over time on the floor, and it can do a lot of damage, which we'll see. But her passive skill, water intake, skill description: when using skills while on water, which you are going to be a lot of the time on water, MP costs decreases. Puddles created by skills are also considered to be water. It decreases it by 30%. So if we look at this move now, you can see that it takes barely any MP off at all when I use it. I'm going to go stand in this water instead. Boom, a tiny little bit, but when you go off the water and use it, you can see that there is a bigger chunk of MP taken. Now the regeneration is fine, but all in all you're going to be using a lot of her abilities, so having the MP decreases is very good. Now let's talk about that first move that we just did, and that is the bubble bullet. Fires a bouncing bubble bullet. Where the bubble bullet impacts, it creates a small puddle at the point of collision. Enemies who touch the small puddle take continuous damage and are reflected with laundry. And what laundry does is that it decreases the resistance on the enemy for electric and non-attribute. So if I am using the thunder cage, which I am tied to my reactor, it will now do more damage because they have laundry on them. So if I go over here and shoot this guy, you can see 20,000 and 34,000. So the crits on the laundry one was 14,000 more than a normal person. So thunder cage, anything electric is going to go really well with Valby. The bubble bullet explodes upon hitting an enemy or after bouncing a maximum number of times, dealing burst damage on nearby enemies. Burst damage increases with the number of times the bubble bullet bounces. So if I'm right on top of someone and I hit them with it, hopefully, well I just hit that guy back there for 98,000. When I'm right on top of someone, it will do about 86,000. But if I stand way back and throw it out and it hits someone, then it will do a hell of a lot more damage, 146,000. So this works in all scenarios, from range to engage in a fight. Close up, when people are on top of you, you can just do very quick burst damage. It's just a phenomenal all-round good move. Right, now let's look at her other move, the laundry bomb, which is kind of her least used ability for me, but still really good, and I should use it more. And that is to equip a unique weapon. It will be unequipped when the duration ends, or all bullets, which usually is 3 bullets, have been used. The projectile impact of the unique weapon creates a laundry bomb, dealing continuous damage with laundry, but they're also towed where they're up in the air. So the more people you get trapped in one of these bubbles, the more damage it will do. And the great thing about this is that it's a crowd control, so you can pull people in like so. So you know, see that's doing 9,000 damage with 2 of them. Let's try and get it in the middle and get a lot of them. My god. So now it's doing 10,000. I'm trying to get it right in the middle of them. Let's do it there. 11,000. So you can see the more people you're getting in, the more damage it does. But it also has a good amount of utility. So you can fire one out, pull some people into it, fire one nearby, and they should get sucked over it. So you can keep someone towed up in the air for quite a while. Yeah, you might only do less damage to them, but you can control the fight easier. I've also used this to pull an elite off the map, and they fall down and die. So I didn't even have to do any damage to them. If I can find that footage, I'll put it in here now. But those two moves are fusion based and non-attribute based. So my Descendant modules build into Dimension. So you see non-attribute specialist and also dimension specialist, because the next two moves we're going to show are dimension based and they are her most powerful. I could do fusion if I wanted to, but for the most part these two are where I'm going to get my damage from. So before we get into her big move, we're going to go with Plop. Plop forms a big puddle at a designated location. So it forms two puddles, one where you dive into it and one where you come out. You can do huge amounts of AoE attack with this move. It does less damage per tick, but it's still a really good move. But also as well, you get knocked down with this. So if there's a whole bunch of enemies that are a little bit more chunky with health, maybe have some shields in front of them, you can knock them all down and then just shoot them, which is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Incredible crowd control, something I use a lot of the time. Sometimes I use it just to put it near a door. So if enemies are coming out of a certain door or a cave or something, I just leave it there like this, and then I go back and shoot some other people and they will take damage while they're running through it. Usually enough damage to kill most enemies. Bigger enemies, elites and stuff, obviously won't die to this little puddle, but did I just see a fish? I didn't even realize there was fish in there. You can see that there is quite a bit of damage, even standing in the like 22,000 per tick and 57,000 on crit. But it is just used mainly for the knockdown for me, and then whatever damage comes with it is great too. But now let's look at her damaging move, which is Clean Up. It is one of the best moves in the game in my opinion. Activates liquefy state. When liquefied, does not collide with enemies, so I can literally just fly through enemies and it'll create a waterway on the ground behind me wherever I went. Enemies standing will take continuous damage because they're inflicted with laundry, which then again also makes their resistances lower. So all in all, with something like this, we'll just do it on this guy. 45,000 per tick, well 46,000 essentially, and hopefully we'll see a crit as well. But you can see that it does a lot of damage. Like I said, burst damage not quite on par with Bunny, but for the most part it's phenomenal. And the only thing about this that makes it really good as well is that you have two of them. So essentially you can just cover the whole floor with water. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. Two little quick moves and I'm hitting everybody in this little area for a mass amount of damage. Why am I getting no crits? There we go. 118,000. Unbelievable. So why am I maining Valby? Well, for me, one, she's definitely worth researching 1,000,000%, and two, if you have the money and you know, you're willing to spend money, definitely worth buying. Previously I'd spoke about Freyna, and I do still think Freyna's incredible and fun, especially with her Contagion Transcendent mod, which I'm probably going to make a video on. She also just has unique abilities. She has a great character design, but the one thing that changes between Valby and Freyna for me is the utility that Valby have is above what Freyna can do. But also as well, Freyna has an ability that for me isn't used as much, or doesn't have as much use, and that's the one where she defends herself with venom. I'm just going to call it venom, and anyone who melees will take poison damage and then spread it around. While this is okay and good and probably a bit better in endgame, for the most part I never use it because I don't need it. Most people are dead before they get close to me, so it's a waste of an ability spot. Whereas Valby, all of her moves just feel good, feel unique. They all have different purposes. They all work well. They all do decent damage. Some of them do exceptional damage. And for me, just all round, just a better, more fun, interesting, unique character. And now that I've found Valby, definitely going to be my main forever, unless they make some buffs or changes to other characters or release some new badass ones. But I definitely think she's worth buying. On top of, as well, all her moves and uniqueness and the fun gameplay loop that she has, her voice acting is phenomenal, and the persona of the character fits the abilities and her whole vibe really, really well. I have a lot of fun listening to her while I'm playing the game because her voice acting is so good. Whereas other characters, specifically Bunny, I don't like her voice acting. It's very grating. Like, hey, get out of the way. Like, just stop. Just shut up. Yes, I am a Bunny hater, but just because you hear it and see it so much, I like uniqueness. I like things that people don't use. That's the kind of person I am. So I always try to find the thing that nobody's using, no matter how powerful that thing is. I always try to play something that is different, and Valby for me is up there on par with Bunny, except for maybe burst damage, but just an all-round better character, and that is why I love her so much. And I hope you guys have either researched her and played her, or if you're willing to buy her and you have the money to be able to do it, I think she's definitely worth it. So let me know what you're thinking down below in the comments section about this badass character, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. I've been Easy Now. You guys have been awesome.